And the consequence of that is I got a ton of friends who don't know how to report their taxes. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it next year," not knowing you kind of have to do it. And they don't. They vote, like, not to get into politics, but like they vote based on cultural or media or like feel good stories like puppies or something,
That's right.
rather than why can't I afford a house?
Mm,
Well, vote for lower taxes.
powerful.
So I feel like that's from education. We kind of got set up for, I don't want to say for failure, but like education did not prepare us for this. Do you feel like there's other external factors going on aside from the education that didn't prepare like us millennials or even Gen Z for actually dealing with finance?
Yeah, I go back to the information. One thing I can speak for myself, right? And I like to give practical examples based off of myself, right, so that others don't feel like they're being pointed at, right? Point the finger at me first. But my in our country, a lot, we're dealing with this right now. We're seeing this go stuff going on in the border, but a lot of us, right? Our parents were immigrants here, in many cases here. A lot of my friends, from Europe and Latin America and India and Asia and all sorts of stuff. And what's happened is that there's a way of life there, and in many cases, not in all, so let's not categorize, but in many cases, a lot of our parents came with much of nothing here, just
Yeah.
in coming in hopes to make, to do something better, right? I'm in America, right? That false reality that just because you're here, it's not, you're in the land of gold. That just, obviously we know better than that, right? Now, for a lot of you that are crossing the border, wish I could have told you in advance that it wasn't going to be that easy. And a lot of folks that are working now, they're working so much harder now than they were in their country, saying, "Man, I didn't realize how much you." Well, this is how it is in the States. So my parents didn't come with a whole lot, and so they worked really hard to get everything that they got today, and they're doing great. They're and they're blessed, and our family's blessed, and all that. But there was a lot of work, time, sacrifice put in to construct where they find themselves today, because they didn't start with much of anything. So what happens is that when it came to teaching us, the young pups, right, now that we're coming up, they're teaching us based off of what they know, right, which was limited because they came in with limited knowledge. But some of it's been influenced about based off of the amount of time that they put in. We can't lose any of this, right? Hey, take care of your money. You gotta, we work hard. You work hard for your money. Save your money. Put it in the savings account. Why? Savings is risk free, right? You put it in the bank, and they're gonna give you, a penny, every year and a half, right? But you're not losing any money, right? You're
Yeah.
not going backwards theoretically, right? So everything you put it in the savings account, and all this. Some folks hoard cash, put cash under your mattress, right? Because the bank system, I don't, you can't trust the bank. It's not you can't trust. Maybe you don't know enough about the bank, etc. And so we were given this information by people that did the best that they could with the limited information that they had. And so we have that. Then you got this school system where they're sending us to, saying, get your education, go get your education, go get your degree, be that first one to graduate from college for us. And it was this venture to become the first, to be the one to break through, if you will. And we're going somewhere that also didn't give us the information that we need. So now it's a double whammy going into the real world. And I feel like the immigrant component, not for all, but for a lot of us, is definitely a factor.
I agree. Like, I do feel like, and I feel bad for people who grew up in like they're multi-generational in Canada, in the States, even Europe, because they never kind of had to feel that like financial survival need. So it kind of made them complacent. But I do think like in the past, immigrants had advantage in terms of their values and like the things they would suggest. Because you mentioned like our parents pushed us to go to university, our parents pushed us to save our money, our parents pushed us to make wise financial decisions. And I do appreciate that from my parents.
Always.
But I do feel, I don't want to, not any knock against them, but I do feel they were kind of where they should have been focusing on the value part, which is hard work. they kind of went too much into like really outdated advice. Because you're the financial expert on this more so than me. Me, I just read some articles here and there. But if you're in 1980 and you stashed your money under your mattress and it was like, I guess, let's say 100K, and then you just left it there for a rainy day, you've lost money if you pull it out now.
Yes, sir.
Also, you should probably replace your mattress by now, but like you've lost money. And why is that? Because inflation, the money's worth less than before.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to remember off the top of my head the exact accurate information, but like let's say inflation was 20%, you lost 20% of the $100,000. The better advice would have been to be like stick gold in there,
Sure. Or
because
Bitcoin.
that doesn't really like it's like, and that's the thing we're not taught. We're not really taught about purchasing power
Mm.
versus like valuation. Like what would be the description better for gold? Like
Commodities.
commodities. Like we're not taught that. And also like save your money, put it in the bank. It's like, sure, back in the day when interest rates were good and the money was strong, that was good sound advice. But like I want to say like since early 2000s that advice mattered less and less and less, because we see the banks still offer you what, a 1% interest rate, a 2% interest rate, but then inflation just
Eats it.
destroys that.
Yes, sir.
Like you're not really saving anything.
Yes, sir.
And meanwhile, they're capitalizing on your money in the bank. They're loaning it out. They're
Reinvestment.
multiplying what they get back out of it. You don't see a penny of that. You're not an investor. You're not a shareholder. You're a person who just they hold your money while they use your money.
Yes, sir.
And again, this is blowing people's minds because we're not taught that. And the final thing is, and you mentioned this, and actually have a video on this.
Mm.
They kept pushing us towards university, university, university,
Mm.
and not realizing the value of a university degree is not what it used to be.
No, sir.
Back in the 70s, 80s, even early 90s, like if you were a graduate, you could expect a certain pay level once you got hired in a job. Not even that, you could expect to be hired in a job.
Yes, sir.
Now here I am. I know you got a master's, me too. I got a post grad in business administration because that's what my parents pushed me to. Like with bless their hearts, that's the information. That was what they knew. And then I spent like many years in the system, like the university system. I come out, I've got debt, and not only am I not being paid high on my degree, no one wants to hire me.
That's right.
So that's pretty outdated information that us
Yes, sir.
millennials and even Gen Z are are dealing with right now. What about you? Like, have you found the same experiences with your masters?
Yeah, man. Let me tell you. I'll tell you the story. Leaving the bank to when I was jumping into healthcare. So at the time, I was getting my master's, and you talk about the piece of paper that you think is going to change your life. So I actually got my MBA while I was I got my bachelor's while I was at the bank, and then I was gonna get my MBA. And so when I got my bachelor's, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get a little extra dollars. They didn't care I had a piece of paper. They didn't care. And I was like, ooh, that surprised me because I put a lot of time, into that, man.
And money.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait, you guys don't care? Like it was like hurt, like you didn't care about the extra time that I put in. So, anyways, I went for my master's, and at this point, I jumped over to the healthcare side, and I was doing an internship for a while, and I got my MBA, thinking I was going to get a job right away. Well, mind you, as I was getting the MBA, I had to take an internship, a 4-month internship with no guarantee that I would get hired. I'm like, but I'm about to get the MBA. What do you mean no guarantee that I was going to get hired? It worked out, thankfully. But at the time, I wanted to get into some sort of managerial role. And now, mind you, I had some years of experience. I had banking experience. I was in the healthcare a little bit. Had a finance background. Got my MBA. I'm like, okay, I'm the real deal, man. Someone's gonna land gold here. So I apply. Didn't hear nothing. Apply to something else. Didn't hear
But
nothing.
that's everyone with a master's. The point of a master's was like a shortcut to being a manager.
Apparently,
And no one wants an MBA as a manager. Like no one's even looking at their. What's the number one thing they want?
they want experience.
Experience.
That's right.
What is the one thing that gets put on hold every year you spent in university?
That's right. So,
Experience. When you're in university, experience is put on hold. Like you're not getting any. So then you go into the job market. You've got you're basically like me, for example, I'm going. This is more of my case. You come in as a 28-year-old, and yeah, I've worked different fields, but in this specific company I'm working at, I came in as a 28-year-old. Um, I'm like I'm working with 22-year-olds. Some of them didn't even like start university. They just got a high school degree.
Yep.
And I was told from the start, like, oh, your master's is going to get you there. It's that what they want you. This is a very competitive job.
Yes,
And
sir.
it's like, no, your interviewer will tell you whatever they want. Maybe they think, oh, this guy's got a master's. We can get him for a bargain. And then you come in and no, nothing. You find out like other people who make more money than you. It's because they've been there longer.
They've been learning longer. That's how it goes,
Yeah.
man. 14 months, George. 14 months I was applying to get my first managerial job. 14 months. Mind you, that means I had a master's degree for at least 14 months. And I'm sitting there saying, this wasn't it, man. This was not it. And it made me wonder, did I waste money and time for no reason? And again, I'm all about pursuing education. If it's you need it and you feel it's a benefit to you, have at it. But if you believe that you getting the piece of paper is the reason you are going to get to X, Y, and Z, I'm telling you now, you might as well stop here, stop the tracks, save the interest, save the debt, and pursue experience before the education.
100%. What I like to suggest to people, especially my baby cousins, take 1 year off.
Mm,
Because in high school, we're like, my parents, bless their hearts, but they were very pushy about it. Pick a university now, now, now. I'm 16. I'm still in high school. Now, now, now. Like not like I didn't plan what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I had no clue how to like progress through that system because it is a path through
yes, sir.
university. You gotta pick the right classes. You gotta time your credits. You gotta see what post grad schools want. And like we're rushed into this major decision of our lives, which is going to cost us years off our life while someone else is gaining the experience to get paid more than me,
Yes, sir.
and we're spending all this money in Canada. I know in Canada it's not as bad as the States. I feel like in the States, like there's like billions of dollars in student debt,
Oh
and a
yeah,
lot of that from people who really didn't know what they want to do, and their degree hasn't even led to them doing what they want to do.
correct. And the system still wants their money on the 15th of the month.
Yeah,
They
you
don't
can't
care
claim
that you
bankruptcy on student debt.
yeah, they don't care that you're not working for it. That's your problem. But you went to school and you borrowed my money. I need it back with 7.5% interest, right?
Exactly.
And there's a lot of folks that are not in their careers, which is exactly what you're saying. They're not in their careers. They have this degree and it's of no use. It is a very expensive piece of paper right now.
Yeah, so I recommend like, take that gap year. Work at the work at the bottom of the hierarchy of the companies. Try working as a plumber's apprentice, try working as like an intern at a bank. Try, if you like marketing, go into marketing. If you like social media stuff, try give your hand at it. Work some summer jobs. Figuring out Figure out what you like to do before you spend all this money and time trying to reach there.
Yes,
Because
sir.
what ends up happening is, instead of like having no university and starting at the the bottom hierarchy of a company, we're spending years of our lives, hundreds, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt
Hmm.
to end up at the bottom at an older age.
Yes, sir.
And that kid who started without university, he's going to get paid more than us.
Absolutely.